everybody. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about these two words, even and odd. So those are math words. They're also words that we use in other parts of our lives too, but in math they have a special meaning. So we're going to talk a little bit about how you can tell if a number is even or odd. So as you can see, I've written out some numbers up here at the top, and I've actually written out a group of even numbers, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. So those are numbers that if you've ever tried counting by twos, you've heard those numbers before, right? So those are numbers that we call even numbers. And the way we can tell if a number is even is if we make a little group of that number of things, we should be able to put an even number of objects into two fair or equal groups. So I'll show you what I mean. So let's look over here at the number 2. So you see here I have 2 pennies. So could I put them in two fair or equal groups? Sure. I could give one person one and one person another, right? So those are fair. So 2 is an even number because I can split the number 2 into 2 equal groups. I'm going to try it with 4. Yep, I made a group of 2 and a group of 2. That equals 4, and both of those little groups are equal and fair. So that's an even number. All right, now we're getting to 6. I've got beans, right? So I'm going to try to put those into 2 equal groups. Are they equal? Yep, they are. So 6 is an even number. Okay, now let's move on to 8. All right, I'm going to put give you one, you one, you one, you one, you one, you one. See, I'm taking turns putting them in groups. Did I end up with 2 fair groups? Yep, they're equal. This group has 4, that group has 4. So that means 8 is an even number. All right, let's look over at 10 for a second. All right, I'm going to divide them up. Ready? 1 for you, 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 1 for me, 1 for you, 1 for me. There we go. Let's see. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up there. So I've got 2 equal groups. So 10 also is an even number. Now I'm going to look for a second at some odd numbers, and see how they're different. So I'm going to come down here, and I've made a list of odd numbers. 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. So I'm going to bring an object down. There's 1 penny. Can I put this penny, without cutting it, can I put this penny into 2 equal groups? No. If my answer is no, then I know that number is odd. Now I'm going to try with 3, okay? 1 for you, 1 for me. Oh, I have 1 left over. I can't put them into, unless I start cutting things in half, I can't put them into 2 groups. So that tells me that the number 3 is an odd number. All right, now I'm going to try it with 5. All right. 1 for you, 1 for me, 1 for you, 1 for me. Oh, there's a leftover. So I've got 2 equal groups, but I still have 1 left over. Well, that tells me that 5 is an odd number. All right, let's look at 7. 1 for me, 1 for you, 1 for me, 1 for you, 1 for me, 1 for you, and there's 1 left over. So that tells me that 7 also, slide this over so you can see the number 7. 7 also is an odd number because I can't put it into 2 equal groups. All right, the last number I'm going to try is 10. So I'm going to bring down 10 beans on my board, and I'm going to try to put them into 2 equal groups. All right, ready? Actually, I brought 9 down, sorry. 1 for you, 1 for me, 1 for you, 1 for me, One for you, one for me, one for you, one for me. Wait a second. Okay, so this group has 4, this group has 4, but look, there's 1 left over. So 9 also is an odd number. So I've kind of proven that 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9 are odd numbers because I can't put those things into 2 equal groups. But 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 are even numbers because when I made those groups, I could put those all into 2 equal groups. So then how do we tell if a bigger number is odd or even? We wouldn't want to sit there and count out a whole bunch of beans or little cubes to look and see if a number was odd or even. So I'm going to clear all these off. Blah. There we go. And I'm going to erase my board. And I'm going to write some larger numbers. And we're going to talk about how you can tell whether they're odd or even. Let's see. Okay, so I've written some numbers here. There's some bigger numbers. Do you want to read them to me first? Good, you read all those numbers. Excellent. Now, when I'm looking at these numbers and trying to decide whether they're odd or even, guess what? I only have to look at the ones place to tell. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to underline the ones place in each of these numbers. That last place over there on the right, since we don't have any decimals, we don't have to worry about that. I'm looking at the ones place, and I am going to look at the ones place, and that's going to tell me whether a number is odd or even. Now, do you want me to make you a list up here at the top so we'll have a little reference? Sure. So remember that we knew that 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 were even. And we knew that 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9 were odd. That's our little guide up there at the top in case we need it, okay? All right, so let's look at our first number. 12. So there's a 2 in the ones place. Now, does anybody remember whether 2 was odd or even? Yeah, it's even. So since 2 is an even number, I know that 12 is even. All right, let's look at 31. A 1 is in the ones place. Anybody remember about, oh yeah. That means it is odd. All right, let's look at 53. Is 3 odd or even? Oh yeah, it's odd. So even though I've added those 10s and turned it into 53, I still know that that's an odd number because of what's in the ones place. That's the number that matters when we're trying to tell odd or even. Okay, 19. Yep. Odd. Okay, 28. What does the 8 tell us? Yep, it tells us that it is even. Good. And now 60. Ooh, weird, Mrs. Bennett. That's got a 0 in it. Well, guess what? 60 is going to be just like 10. If we see a 0 in the ones place, we know it is going to be even. I don't have to take out 60 beans and put them in 2 groups to know the answer. I can look right at the ones place and know that that's an even number. Okay, I'm going to let you practice. I'm going to write you a couple of more numbers and let you practice them to yourself, okay? All right, let's see. I'm going to write. Okay, let's look at it. I'm going to underline the ones. You tell me, odd or even? Yep, it's even. I'm going to put a little E. Okay, 22. Look at that ones place. Odd or even? Yep, even. Okay, what about 59? I see a 9 in the ones place. Odd, good. Oh my gosh, that's a huge number. But guess what? I don't care about any of that. All I care about is this one right here, that ones place. So is 7 an odd or an even number? Yep, it's odd. 300? Good gravy, that's a huge number. Look at the ones place. It ends in a 0. Yep, we know it's going to be even. Good. And then our last one here is 26. Look at that ones place. Is it odd or even? Yep, 6 means it's even. Okay, so now if you're doing one of those number sheets that asks you about whether a number is odd or even, you know where to look. Just look right in that ones place and remember what you know. If it ends in a 2, 4, 6, 8, or a 0, it is even. And if it ends in a 1, 3, 5, 7, or 9, it is odd. Good work, kiddos.